I've always really enjoyed short stories when I read. I think part of that is because of the amount of time that it takes to read them. It's amazing to be able to sit down and to consume an entire story from beginning to end in a very short period of time. I also admire how authors are able to manipulate their words to tell us a complete story, to add details that really inspire our imagination in such a short space. So today, before we start reading short stories, I want you to read an article on how to read short stories. You can find a copy of it here in the PDF or on your desk. There should be a couple of copies around the room. What you'll do for this assignment, for the first assignment you need to do, is to read that article and to answer these questions. For these questions here at the top, the first thing you need to do is you need to define each of the following as completely as possible. You can do this from your own memory if you happen to remember what these are, or you can use the internet to look them up. I like to use the Explore feature by clicking Tools and Explore with the word highlighted. My word didn't come up there, so I'm going to type it, and you might need to remind it you're talking about literature here, otherwise you may get something that's completely off base there. So in literature, a character is a person, animal, being, creature, or thing in a story. It's often the subject. Chances are you've heard terms protagonist and antagonist. We talked about that the other day on your pretest. We're going to go into more detail on that later. But for the purpose of this assignment, you can simply type the subject of a story. It can be a person, animal, or thing. Conflict, same thing. Go through and define each of these words. You can use the internet or you can use one of the dictionaries on the shelf, whichever you find more convenient. These next boxes can be answered from the PDF. So I'm going to go back to that document. I'm just going to pull it up over here. The first box asks, in the box below, list at least 5 questions or issues a reader should consider before beginning to read a short story. You can find all of those here. And I just want to kind of jog your memory as to how we look at a story when we're looking at it for the purpose of a class rather than just to enjoy. So your first assignment is to complete this How to Read Short Stories assignment. It is due by Friday. We are going to talk about it on Wednesday or Thursday, whichever day I have you this week. So be prepared for that. And these terms, these are just going to help us fill out our discussion when we talk about stories that we're reading. So the second thing that I need you to do today is to read the entire short story, The Lady or the Tiger. You can find it on pages 31 to 37 in your textbook. Those are on the shelf. Help yourself, make sure you put them back. Or if you'd prefer, you can read the PDF copy that I've given you here. This story is very short, just 4 pages here. It's 7 in the book, but there's some pictures and some other things in the way there. And I chose this one just because it is kind of an unconventional short story. So what you need to do for this assignment is you need to read this story in its entirety, either in the book, with a friend out loud, to yourself, or from the PDF. And then I need you to, on a piece of notebook paper, record the following bits of information. The first thing you need to write is the title and author of the story. That's already given here at the top, The Lady or the Tiger, Frank R. Stockton. It was written in 1882. That's not necessarily significant to what we're talking about, but it might be fascinating for you later. So then the next thing you'll do as you read is you need to write down the setting, which is the time and place where the story takes place, any of the main characters in the story, and a brief description. Don't go into a whole lot of detail there. And then just list key events that happen. If you want to use bullets to do that, that's fine. If you want to do numbers, that's fine. Whatever's going to make sense to you later, because you guys will be able to use these notes later when we take quizzes over these, when we take our test at the end of the unit, and to help you guys stay organized, because we are going to do some writing assignments based on these short stories to kind of reflect with what we read. If you have any questions today, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. You can call me. You can't call me. You can call me maybe, but not today. You can email me though. You can shoot me a message on here if you had a class comment. I'll be able to see that. I get notifications for that on my phone. If you guys have any questions, also you can ask each other. Don't be afraid to help each other out on these 2 tasks. I hope you have a nice day. Thanks.